Enter full screen. Pause. Recording, and looking forward to seeing everybody jump in. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go into speaker view here. Oops. That's not what I want. So speaker view should just... Hi, everybody. So glad that everybody can join us. I am going to see why I can't be the one who's, there we go, no. All right, well, we're going back to, I know, I don't know why it's doing that. I put it back to speaker view, should just be with the yellow box around me. Okay, everybody, looks like we are filling up this room. So glad to see everybody. It is 6:31, and I don't want to waste another second because we are back with TAP on Tuesdays. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. You have to turn the audio down there. All right, and all right, everybody. We are also live on Facebook, as you can see. I am so happy that everybody is here for TAP on Tuesday. So we are going to get started. Welcome to another episode of TAP on Tuesday. Today is June 16th, and we are so thrilled to be able to invite Carl McIntyre and his wife Elizabeth joining us today from out near Charlotte. You'll have to tell me exactly where you guys are when you get started. But our TAP on Tuesdays is our approach to reminding you all that it's National Aphasia Awareness Month. And we are 2 down and 3 to go in the month's TAP on Tuesdays, where we are sharing awareness, advocacy, and general information about what aphasia is. This is what our month looks like, and we started out with a town hall meeting sharing what we've been doing, especially since COVID, and how TAPUnlimited has tried to reach out to you out in the community, sharing virtual groups and connecting with people that are home. Our goal is to make sure people are not socially isolated. We then had a wonderful interview with our mental health counselor and aphasia speaker, Rose Reef, and today we're here to talk to Carl. This is all leading up to a very special event and something that I know the event committee is feeling very different about, because we are very used to the opportunity to do decorations and food and get music ready and really put you guys on a really great party. Well, we're going to do that this year, but this year we've gone virtual, and we are going to celebrate the hope and the connection that we've been able to provide here at TAP, thanks to our generous volunteers. All the group leaders are volunteering right now, our board of directors, our committees, and everybody, you guys at home that have been supporting us. The TAPathon will help us raise money to keep TAP afloat and provides not just the virtual programming, but cross our fingers and toes that one day we will be back together soon. I wanted to remind you guys that information about TAP is always available on our website, and I really want to thank Jody Weisberg, who is our website guru, who has kept you all up to date with upcoming events, our schedule, and remind you to read the schedule every single week because there's new groups starting all the time. We also have a live feed of our Facebook posts. So if you don't do Facebook, this is a great way to get that information. So I am so excited today that Carl and Elizabeth decided to once again join us here at the Triangle Aphasia Project to share their aphasia journey. And they not only did that, but they're providing a special link for their video. And to get things started, as I know they always do in this speech, I'm going to take the opportunity to share with you guys the trailer for Aphasia the movie. I just realized I didn't do one thing when I shared, so I'm going to share again. Sorry about that. You would not have any sound. There we go. And ready?
Life's lottery. The game is never the same, but the outcome is, because once you win, your life changes. Forever. I won the life lottery when I was born. Massive carotid embolic stroke.
He lost the whole left side of his brain. He doesn't even know where his nose is.
So I can't talk, I can't read, I can't write. My no's are yeses and my yeses no's, and I have a really hard time understanding what people are saying to me. I'm pretty much communication free.
Stroke. Not will talking.
Okay, we're looking for this word.
A year and a half.
Got it.
That's what the experts give me. 547.5 days from this point in my life, I will have recovered all that I am to recover. Either completely restored to my original self, or not. A year and a half? I don't think so. Hope's gotta live longer than a year and a half.
Well, I know if you all don't have chills, I certainly do. Let me go back to the last slide. This trailer is available
Life's
on the
lottery.
Aphasia, the movie website, but also what's available is the opportunity to purchase this amazing, and not just amazing, but award-winning, multiple award-winning movie. And they are providing us a special discount, $20 off. And there's a link here that I will be sending you all. If you would like to, we'll also put this link in our Facebook feed. And in case you didn't know, in 2018, and we have seen Carl a couple times here at the Triangle Aphasia Project, but in 2018, he was invited for a very special award. He won our Triangle Aphasia Project Advocacy Award. So, you ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Carl McIntyre.
Okay.
Hi.
Elizabeth, Sue.
Hey,
How are
everybody.
you? Okay.
I'm going to give you the floor, okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
You want me off a little bit?
Yeah, fine. Story. almost 14 years ago, Elizabeth and I, Charlotte, love Charlotte, all friends and fun. But 3 days ago, for 15 years ago, but three days ago,
Quarter straight.
yeah, I had a physical, I think. Yeah, and good, all good. But 2 days ago,
Before the stroke.
yeah, sorry. Strange feeling. I can't words, but something is really wrong. head hurt, never head hurt, and maybe flu or something. But working, and I went 2 days ago after stroke, before stroke.
Mhm.
Yes, sorry. I driving to Atlanta, working, and 3 auditions, and I think big time, busy all the time. But I, after dinner, small dinner, and always call Elizabeth every night, because 3 small children, and how are you going? And Elizabeth, I said, really tired, and still head ache really bad, and never imagine, but going to bed, Holiday Inn, Atlanta, and one morning, better, but still not good. Dinner, breakfast, and going sales, all Atlanta, and drive home. I know 5 or 4:30 office, and Steve Proctor, good friend and boss, really, man, I can't, need home early, and drive home. Grace, first firstborn, go to Grace and Elizabeth going to Brownies, first time Brownies. And I babysit, but Elizabeth said parenting,
Yes.
but yeah. And rock baby, Sawyer.
And we were only going to be gone an hour.
Yeah. And Jeff, brother, or Lewis, brother, called maybe I don't know.
Don't matter.
Yeah, sorry. But all of a sudden, baby rocking the seat, and nothing. I fall down, left, right side is paralyzed, but still, I don't know why, but never imagined stroke. Maybe something else, but why I can't move anything. And I try to walk or crawl to call phone. I can't wait up really hard to push, and sweating. Oh man, sweating, and
Couldn't reach the phone.
tried and tried and tried, and I need nap, something, because I'm tired and sweating, and Liza and Sar, bedroom, same bedroom, but something show.
I don't know.
Yeah. But Elizabeth home, and
Is that time for me?
yeah.
So Grace and I returned home after an hour, and he was supposed to have put the children to bed. Liza was almost 4, and Sawyer was almost 2. And I could hear the TV on, and I could hear them. And so when I walked upstairs, Carl, of course, was laying on the floor, eyes wide open, and Sawyer sitting on top of him. And so I immediately knew something was wrong. I thought maybe he pulled his back out or something. But he wouldn't answer me or talk to me, so I called 911 immediately. And that's where our journey began, I guess, or my journey in all this. And so that was September 15th, 2005. And since then, it has been a day-to-day journey. Each day's new, always something exciting, maybe not good, sometimes bad. But one thing that I love about the TAP group is that it is a group, and it is some place to go for support, where I did not have that. Even though I lived in the big city of Charlotte, there was nothing for me. Several months after his stroke, we went to some stroke group, and they were all really old and had had 2 or 3 or 4 strokes, and they were just there for the cookies. I mean, it just really wasn't meeting our needs. And so we were the youngest ones there by a long shot. Carl was 44. And so we thought, we got to do something better than this. But I really never had found a group. The few times that Mara has invited us up and I've sat in the background and just watched, I was just so envious of the wives or the other people, and talking and sharing your stories, and that's just helped so much. We had friends who helped with, we have a cat issue. We had friends who helped us find other speech pathologists and helpers. Carl did a lot with Chapel Hill. He was their guinea pig in a lot of their studies. Graduate students used him to do some project, whether it was teaching Carl how to call for a doctor's appointment. We took advantage of anything that we could, because any help was better than none. And I was just so clueless on everything. So other than I had friends researching stuff, and we tried everything. And it was very frustrating. It wasn't easy. The Carl that I knew before September the 15th was not the Carl I was stuck with. And frankly, I didn't really like him that much the first couple of years. I mean, his personality had changed. He was angry. He was frustrated. And it wasn't the sweet, funny Carl that I knew. Dad has come back, thankfully. It does take time, but it does come back. But with small children and what we had to do, it was difficult. But, you know, yes meant no and no meant yes. We had all these stages that I'm sure a lot of y'all went to. But the most important thing for me was I had a group of girls who would take me out. I'd get one of Carl's friends to come and sit with him. And I would go out and we'd have wine, and I'd whine. I mean, I needed that. And I didn't realize till years later how important that was, that I had a support system for me as well. So if you're out there and you're a caregiver, please have a buddy or a friend that you can go and have a pity party with, or someone to pat you on the back or whatever, because you'll need that every now and then. And then you pull your britches up and you keep going. So, and it's been, there's been positive points to this. Carl traveled all the time, and I was home with the children, and he got to watch his children grow up. He was there because he hasn't been able to go back to work. And it affected his reading and his writing and his speech, of course. And so having him home and running the read with the children and watching them and sharing, being part of just the two of us, it's really been nice, I think.
Well,
And he's had to learn everything from simple one-step directions to body parts to everything else. But, now I don't really even think about that he doesn't speak as well or whatever. We played Scrabble together so he could learn words, and I would beat him and he would make up words and fuss at me because, that was a lot of points, but it wasn't a real word. And now he beats me. So, there's progress. It's slow, and you might take 4 steps forward and 5 back, or you might take 4 steps forward and go 1 back. So it's just up and down, and good days and bad days, but patience on the caregiver's part, and patience on
well,
Carl's part.
sometimes.
And sometimes we don't have
but-
patience.
Well,
Elizabeth, I'm sorry, Carl.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you guys are both here, because I think that that's one of the great things about this opportunity is for you that we know that aphasia doesn't affect just one person, right?
Right.
It affects everybody that the person loves and that they love. And I wonder if, since one of the things, even watching the letters go around in that title of the movie, can you take us back, Carl, and then Elizabeth, if you want to add to it, to the deciding, I want people to know about aphasia. I'm going to do this movie because you're an actor, right? That's your skill set, and you have a long list of credits of your talented acting, and to have that one thing be impacted by aphasia seems like, a tremendous blow, but it seems that you guys turned it around and said, watch this. So can you tell us a little bit about putting together the movie?
Well, Aphasia, the movie, is really an act of love. All of Carl's friends, all his acting buddies, and behind the camera, in front of the camera, they all volunteer their time in making this movie. And one of his very good friends, Jim Gloucester, wrote it. And it is mostly the truth. The whole movie is basically what we struggled and went through. And of course, it zoomed quicker than reality, but
Sure.
but it's not a 15-year film.
No.
But he really took his time and really tried to, get everything, the important issues across, and and didn't want to step on our toes, and wanted us to make sure that he got these important parts right. And then Carl went up to Charlotte. By that point, we were living in Laurinburg. We moved back home about 100 miles from Charlotte so that I could go back to work teaching and our parents could help the children.
Yeah.
And because Carl couldn't do that, and we couldn't live in Charlotte anymore. So Carl went back up to Charlotte for about 15 days.
Yeah, 9 days of shooting. Chuck, filming,
Yes.
and Donna and Tanya and
Well, anyway, so he went up there to Charlotte, and by that point, he had passed a lot of those stages of aphasia in the beginning. And so Carl had to go back and act like he couldn't speak any sounds. Because when he left the hospital, he literally couldn't make a sound.
Yeah.
And
That's what is so interesting about watching the movie, is that you are playing yourself.
Mhm.
And for those of you who have seen the movie, I think some of the scenes are very chilling, because we know that you're having to fake that you couldn't say it, and you had to go, kind of go back. How was that for you, Carl?
hard, but I always actor. And
But during that time that he did have to go back and relearn or act out that all he could say was yes, no, or whatever, he grew so much. He made so much progress. I don't know, it just charged his brain or some cells popped in or whatever, but he really made a lot of growth having to memorize his parts and act out, or so it was a good thing all the way around. But he did want to tell his story in it that helped anybody or in any way. That was a bonus. So
and that's what we call the life participation approach, is doing something that you're passionate about is what is the best practice. It's better therapy than you could ever pay for.
oh,
absolutely.
So Carl, in the movie, what would have been your favorite scene? What was one of the scenes of the movie that really?
I think Tanya and therapy.
Speech therapy.
Yeah.
Bad, angry, depressed, every day, and struggle. But one day of filming therapy, 3 days, different days, but one day of filming. And I love to better. But yeah.
I loved that scene too, and I loved that she was helping you find strategies.
Yeah.
And you were coming up with strategies of your own, and she followed those.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important, is following our clients and their. So I think that we've kind of melded into this. I don't want to take away from your speech, but we've kind of melded into some discussion and questions. Do you want to finish any part of what you want to say, or do you want to open it up for some ideas and questions? I know I have some, and then there's some coming up on our chat. If you,
fine.
okay, if you do have questions, people, please just drop them in the chat or the Q&A that's on the Zoom. If you're not on Zoom and you're on Facebook Live, you can go ahead and put on Facebook. I have my trusty assistant transcribing those. While we're talking about the movie, and your favorite scene was a speech therapy, was there any scene, Elizabeth, that you felt was particularly haunting in replaying it?
Yes, well, yeah, and it's still hard. But when he was down, when I woke up and he wasn't there, and he was downstairs, that was after the party, I believe, and he was upset because he didn't know his body parts. So he didn't know where his nose was, or his eyes, or his arms, and he was so upset. And then that's when he broke down. And then really and truly, that was the first time he did break down, was after that. And that was hard to me.
Yeah.
So
I have chills thinking about that scene.
Yeah.
The scene, and I'd like to know how you felt about playing this, Carl, is the scene that really impacted me was when you went to the party, and it was very hard for you to decide to go to this party. And then when you went, I think Elizabeth finally kind of tried to exhale and walk away and let you be you. And what happened? Because some people haven't seen the movie, but I don't want to give it away, but it was rough to watch. It was rough.
Lots of people, hey, fine. Love you, hey.
And noise was a big issue also with Carl at that time, where going to a restaurant, that's just too much overloading him.
Yeah.
So that was part of the party scene.
I outside because I need space, and talking, and good friend.
Sure.
And never
Just made fun of you.
yeah.
Hurt his feelings
Yeah.
and made
Yeah.
fun of him. He didn't mean.
No, but my feeling is, wow,
He was correct. Yeah. Reality. I mean, it really.
wow.
Yeah.
And so, sorry.
No,
Um,
It was bad, but
Yeah.
and it took a long time to be sociable, because a lot of people, even some of our good friends, if we went out to dinner with a couple couples, they might not talk. There's a cookout at your house, they might not come up to talk to Carl because they don't know what to say,
Yeah.
and so they know he can't talk well, so they just don't talk to him at all, and that's hurtful. I mean, they don't mean to be hurtful, but ignoring him is not what he wants. And maybe other people may, but that
Good friends.
It's
Really good friends. No, in thick and thin.
yes. We've been very lucky with
Really good friends, but
a lot of people lose their spouse
Mhm.
because of a stroke or aphasia, and a lot of people lose their close friends, and of course their job and other things like that. But Carl has
moving
been very lucky
hard.
that he did not lose his lovely spouse, but also his friends. I mean, and his
Yeah.
friends are dear friends that have stuck with us and have been there for us through anything that I needed, whether it was planning a birthday party. Chuck brought, Liza turned forward the day that I brought Carl home from the hospital. And he had birthday plan. It just everything just, so yes, his friends have just really carried us. And that's what I said. The most important thing is you need friends to help along the way.
And your friends need to learn how to speak aphasia. That's one of the programs that I'm most proud of at TAP is the Learning to Speak Aphasia. And an interesting thing has happened during COVID where, because we're virtual, we've been offering that training online. And so people are coming from your friends from Seattle and from Washington, DC, and from Florida are showing up and learning how to communicate. Because it's not that they don't want to, they just don't want to frustrate you or make it worse.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to ask some of these questions, and I hope more people, especially those who have watched the film and those who are now excited to purchase the film and learn about it, Ron was asking, your children were very young when you had your stroke. How did you orient them to the situation as they were growing up?
Do you want me to take that?
Well, Grace is, remember, before and after.
Mm-hmm.
Liza and Sawyer.
Yeah, that's the only daddy they know, and they grew up with. I can remember soon after the stroke, and of course, Carl did learn some bad words right off the bat. And I can remember.
He accessed them. He already had them in there.
Yes, right. And so she had one of her little preschool friends over to play, and I overheard her saying, now my daddy may say some bad words, but we don't say them. So, and Dad just, they get it. She, so that's just the way he is, and they've accepted it, and
Yeah,
they don't know any other way. So, yeah, and they've always been involved in the movie or seeing it and been a part of it. So it's just, just normal, I
It
guess.
is what it is.
yeah. I think that before and after thing is really interesting. When my mom had her stroke, Zach was only 6. So most of his remembering is that, Grandma Joan always had aphasia. That's how she talked. So when he sees videos of her before, he's like, oh my gosh, Grandma could talk. Michelle is asking if there are still hard times if there's a lot of noise. Do you feel like?
No, but I need to really focus. Television, Elizabeth and I watch, and children, hey, where you coming? And
He has to pause it,
I can't.
He still has to
really
focus. But it's not as bad like in a
No.
restaurant and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He's learned to
fine.
manage.
Awesome.
And I'm 4 years.
What?
Substitute teacher.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Substitute teacher.
At the
High school.
You have.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Part-time,
Hmm.
but something to do, and I think people are good people, and children especially. Okay, stroke.
It's been
okay.
amazing how the students have been very accepting and kind. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's been, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's a great education for them too,
Yeah.
teaching them to be, kind and understand people with different,
Yeah.
you touched upon taking time for, having friends and having a good support network. Elizabeth, one of the folks are asking, what specific things did you do for caregiving? So what you guys should know is that this audience is vast. I'm looking at the people that are here, and there are people who are students. There are people who have had strokes. There are spouses and loved ones. There are speech pathologists. There's our board and donors. And so I know it's a wide question, but we all sometimes need to take care of ourselves. How did you do that? And is there any specific advice you'd give, Elizabeth?
How I took care of me.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Well, not much.
Family.
Several of my friends did give me a couple spa treatments or whatever else, where I go get my fingernails done or something like that, but that was few and far between. But yeah, I did have a couple weekends away in a few years span, but basically, like I said, I had girls' night out or whatever else, and one of his friends would come in, so I knew that he was taken care of, the children were taken care of. But yeah, there wasn't as much as I probably would have liked or needed, but just any little second you can grab, I guess, is good.
Last week,
a lot.
Yeah, last week when Rose was here, she said one of the things is about just take the choice to take a breath. Okay, they need me in the other room, but I'm going to take a breath. And just sometimes that even a little bit of self-care is a big thing.
Go for a walk. Mm-hmm.
Carl, the question came up is, how are you doing now? Can you talk a little bit about how you're doing now?
Really good, I think. I like to still garden. Lots of working outside is.
We should open up a vegetable stand. I think we're planting like 40 tomato bushes.
Yeah.
Come by.
Yeah.
You'll have to join in on our Tap Roots garden group.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of
Poker.
Yeah. Thank goodness, not for money, but for fun.
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
A lot of books on tape.
Lots.
If he walks a dog, he doesn't want me to walk with him because he's got his headphones on, listening to books on tape.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's still working and plugging along on trying to say things better and smoother. And
I always better speaking every day. I'm trying to more clearer.
And some days it's like it was 2 years after the stroke, or if he's tired, he doesn't speak as well, or that he's fresh or whatever. But he's
that was actually one of the questions. Do you still spend time improving your speech, either through groups or individual? Do you work one-on-one with anyone?
No.
You do so much.
But before, but now
on his Facebook page, he posted a little speech about the virus and aphasia and compared the two.
Oh, so good. Yes.
And so we wrote that out, and he practiced it probably a month.
Yeah.
I mean, over and over, and until I'm like, can I just rewrite it? What can I do to make it easier? but he plugged along until, so yes, he still practices and.
Yeah.
Carl, can you, in case people didn't see that video, although I hope they go to your page and visit it, but can you tell people how you compared COVID?
Aphasia and stroke is,
In the virus.
yeah, because in isolate or
You're
yeah,
isolated. You're
yeah.
isolated.
And I can't talk, I can't speak, and I can't go friends. Hard, really hard, but
And that's the way aphasia is.
yeah, same
Yeah.
thing.
We've been making that parallel a lot here at TAP, saying, I think people are finally understanding what it feels like to have aphasia, because it's a little socially isolating, right?
It is.
It doesn't have to be. A couple other comments that you're getting. Carl was my first impression, or my inspiration. I told him that, well, I finally meet him, and he had some tears to shed.
Yeah.
Carl, you've been a great inspiration for others who have had strokes and have aphasia. I commend you on your service to creating awareness, especially this month, not just with your movie, but other ways. There is a question here. Sorry, I keep squinting, but I'm a little old. We also got some comments of how people have watched the movie a while ago.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be watch it again. It's one of those movies you can see over and over, and every time find something new that you thought. And I know Chuck was on the call before. I don't know if he got dropped off, but he is welcome to jump back on if he wants, and we can, if he can answer any questions. Let me see what some of the other questions. So I know that you have kind of tapped in, all pun intended, to a couple of the TAP programs. Has there been any thing from TAP that you particularly felt was helpful? I know Elizabeth said that it was really it was nice to watch other people that understood. When you were here visiting for TAP, what was some of your impressions?
I like to sing.
Yeah.
The music.
Really,
music part,
I like
yeah.
to sing. I know singing. I can't sing a lick, but I like to hear music, and I like to try.
Well, also hearing other people's stories or what they're struggling with, and maybe they've got something that helped them get over this hump, or you have something that might could help them, was interesting, I thought, at the meetings.
And I always need to pay back, because I'm stroke, but I'm better every day, and I love to help other people, and one person is enough, but 20, 10, yeah.
I think you do that, and I think you do it in the movie, and I also think you do it personally. And just my personal story is that I have the picture, I think you guys saw, that I posted of you talking to my mom, and I remember my mom saying, he paid attention to me right after, like, you just focused completely on her. And I think in that you were modeling how, if you're going to communicate with someone, get to their level and take the time and patience to be able to do it. And I think you live that. And I think it's something that is why you're an inspiration. Somebody asked a question about the early stages, because now, it's easy to kind of look back and go, okay, well, now I'm okay and blah, blah, blah. But in those early stages, what kind of advice would you give to people who are just starting? I will mention, you said 44. Our average age at TAP is 47.
Wow.
So we are not talking about people that are up, we have some older folks, but we
Right.
also have some younger folks. So the
Well,
average really, I'm
in
sorry.
the hospital, there were so many younger than him.
Yeah.
It was just, it blew my mind because I'd never been around anyone who'd had a stroke. And, I just thought they were all granddaddies, 90 years old, and here everybody was young. But in the beginning, I learned to let him try. And after like 3 times of attempting to say what he wanted to say, then I would help him. And then talking about focusing, really important for him to see my mouth and my lips move to form the letters and the sounds.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. I got muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. 1 second.
You're good.
So anyway.
Now we can ask you all about him while he's gone.
It's all about me now. But those are 2 things that were very important, because after 3 attempts, he would be frustrated and hung up on it, and he wasn't going to go anywhere. But he did need those 3 tries first. What else in the beginning? I'm trying to think. He was very depressed, angry. And so the simpler I could keep things, I didn't ask him to do a whole lot. He had to learn steps and directions. Like I couldn't say, go get your coat over there in the chair and bring it here. That was too much. I might have
So
to
as
say,
you layered those commands, it got more
Mhm.
challenging.
Yeah, that was just too difficult. But, we gradually got there. And I know right after his stroke, he saw a movie of somebody with aphasia, and they were talking as well as I am right now.
Mhm.
And that was depressing and didn't do him any good. I mean, he needed to see somebody struggling a little bit, that was just almost too happy, So, there's been, but patience, just keep plugging along. And the big thing, I think Carl's big thing was that, yes, he lost his ability of language, but he didn't lose his intelligence.
Yeah.
And his big thing that he always said whenever he went to Lowe's or wherever, can't speak well, had stroke, can't speak well. And everybody says, that's okay, take your time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just the answer the whole world's supposed to say, but everybody says the same thing. And everybody was kind. One time, one person took advantage of him at Wendy's. He was getting food for the children or something. But other than that, everybody couldn't be any kinder or helpful. But he always said that right off the bat because he didn't want people to think he was dumb.
Yeah.
And that was maybe a hang up for Carl, and it may be for other people, but he didn't lose any of his intelligence. He's still one of the smartest people that I know. And it just it just takes a while to get out there or whatever, but
So we often say that it's a disorder of access, not memory, not intellect. It's the ability to retrieve what you already know, and
the processing of it all.
Yeah. So people hand someone a card that says I have aphasia, or says, to the people, I have aphasia, it's hard to talk. Evens out the playing fields a little bit, and it reminds people that you do have a lot to say, even though saying it is challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still talks. Sometimes I'm like, Carl, can you be quiet? And I'm thinking, wow.
Who thought he would have said that?
Yeah. So.
But Elizabeth and I, best friends before married.
Mm-hmm.
And we had really good communication before the stroke.
Yeah.
And so sometimes now I think it's even might be a little harder because our communication isn't as well as it was probably back in, because we knew what we were talking about, and it's lonely, or not so much now, but 10 years ago maybe, when I started back working, and there was nobody, he didn't say, well, how was your day, honey? What did you do today at work? There was none of that, because it was all about him, and he was self-absorbed with trying to get everything, surviving the day and learning what he needed to do, that there was no, how was I? And so So I think being a caregiver is lonely, but that too was a phase, and it moves on. And now, you know, I don't have to tell him every day who I teach with, or this happened, the same thing over and over.
Fine.
He's learned to ask me how my day is.
You got a little script for that when she walks in the door, right?
Absolutely. So it does get better. It does, but you know, it does take some time as well.
You guys are providing such awesome insight. If any more people have some questions, we still have about 10 minutes of their time so please put in your questions or statements. You know, if you want to share some of I think one of the things that you're mentioning, Elizabeth, is, you know, very relatable, and people don't want to say it. Maybe somebody doesn't want to say, hey, what about me? But we need a place to be able to do that too. So,
Right.
I think one of the things that I'd like to ask and maybe bring up is, you were talking about communication and that you guys were best friends. And so when you know each other for a long time and you're best friends, you can easily fill in the words. And everybody who's watching that knows me are going to know that I say, they have to do it themselves. It's
so easy to speak for him.
Isn't it? Yeah. So the dignity of struggle is something that I really believe in, Carl. It's okay for you to struggle because I'm telling you, I believe in you. But when someone you love watches you, it's like heartbreaking, right? To know what he wants to say, but not be able to help him because really he needs the work himself. So I'm wondering how you deal with that. And
it's a lot of tough love. Like, you know, I forgot what he wanted. He said something like, well, I can't, we went through a drive-through maybe at McDonald's, something. Well, I can't do it. So I said, well, I'm not going to do it for you. And he could do it. You know, he could order his coffee. So, and of course he got mad at me, but then he turned around and did his order. And I'm like, see, you know, so.
Sometimes.
He doesn't believe in himself. You have to push him a little bit.
Hard, but I'm, hard-headed.
Good. Hard-headed people do better. It's a mindset.
I need to finish working. Started. I need to finish. And
but sometimes he's hard-headed, but sometimes he wants me to do it for him. And there's no need for me. I mean, and I don't mind doing things for him, but it's not that he can't do it. And, you know, if he couldn't do it, then I wouldn't even blink an eye. But when I know he's just doing it, not thinking he can, if that makes sense.
Tired.
So that, and I'm just like, no, you can do it if you want to do it, or you want this.
Okay.
And that was a cool thing, just practicing making a doctor's appointment. I mean, and you could do that, you know, just little things. Or in the beginning, we learned the days of the week together, or, you know, just simple, just riding down the road. Instead of listening to the radio, we practice the days of the week, you know.
But
yes.
I called the doctor and I need appointment, but still numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are so tough for you.
Hard.
Yeah.
Still, okay, Elizabeth, where doctor appointment?
So I mean, we still write it.
Well, multimodal is still good. Write it down, you know.
Yeah.
I want to remind you, Carl, since you've been here before, that this is the jar that we have here.
Oh, yeah.
And
I love that.
You see the dollars that are in there?
Yeah.
So in this room, you can say any 4-letter word except that one.
Yeah.
That's a bad word, yes.
Nope.
You should put one of those jars up, and you get to spend all the money, Elizabeth, every time.
I think that's a great idea.
So Alan is asking, it's my first time hearing about stroke. I had my stroke 2 months ago. Carl is when just hope.
Oh,
very nice. Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate you writing that. And hi, Carl. I am James. It will be 8 years on July 5th since I had my stroke, and I am getting better.
Yay!
Yeah. So I always think of that last scene of the trailer, but also of the movie, of that hope has got to last longer. And we always tell people, if a physician or a therapist or someone tells you it's 6 months or a year, stand up and walk out, because they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There's a Lee Duncan, who I think you guys know, who are saying words are inadequate to describe how proud I am of Elizabeth and Carl. I've known them long ago.
Yes, he was organist at our church growing up.
That's
Hey,
really
Lee.
so nice to have everybody popping in with some questions. Zach, do we have any questions from Facebook? If you're on Facebook, and refresh it and see, you can drop a question. We have just a couple more minutes, and I'm just so appreciative of you guys kind of giving, we have a new program called TAP Chats, and it's part of our advocacy and ambassador program. And people are being asked to tell their story. And there is a lot of power in that, right? There is a lot of, everybody wants to go right from the beginning, like of Sawyer playing right up on top of you. They remember crawling from, the bathroom into the living room, or crawling out the window to try to get help. And, for those of us who have not had strokes, you make us feel that by sharing that story. And I think it's very powerful.
I do too.
Yeah.
And you do great things, Mara. I mean,
we do. We are a big family here. I can't take any credit for it.
oh yes, you should.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see if there's any final questions. Any final words of wisdom or advice while we're seeing if there's any final questions before we sign off tonight?
Keep trying.
Laugh at everything. Mama said, Elizabeth, I don't know how you're doing this. I said, well, if I didn't laugh at it or whatever else, I'd split my wrist. I mean, just, there are going to be hard times and funny times, or, just pick yourself up and keep going. It gets better, and patience and laughter, don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
Carl, you said keep trying.
Yeah.
What about when the speech therapist says you're all done?
And that happened.
And
we said thank you, and then we went to see where we went next.
Okay.
Yes.
But tomorrow, another day.
And there's another speech therapist out there.
And okay, pick up and pie on and
We did
try
some more.
again.
Yeah.
Never is never.
Never give up.
Yeah.
Never, never, ever. Michelle said, thank you for reminding us to laugh. And Joel reminded us that you got to keep grinding. That's what he's telling you. Oftentimes I'll tell clients, tell me, bring it.
Yeah.
And then, everybody says, keep moving on. I think there's one question. No, it's not a question, a statement. Can you tell me it? Because I can't see it. Awesome. I can't even read that from over here. But Abby Simon, who's one of our group leaders, shared that you are evidence that neuroplasticity works, and that you have to keep going, and it's all about motivation. I would add that it's about mindset. If you believe you can, you will. And I am so appreciative, I know we all are, for you sharing your story today. I encourage people to go to that link and get the movie. We do have the movie here at TAP, and we would love to host a movie night, but we can't. So if we could, we would. I would even bring popcorn. So thank you guys so much. And please join in on some of our groups. We have a support group. We have all of our groups. Look at our calendar and jump in. We would love to see you guys.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
I love you.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for next week.